Hello, I am representing the Fall 2018 team. We are working on the Startup FIU version 1 questionnaire project. Product owner is Robert Hacker. The professor and mentor is Dr. Masoud Sajadi. The developers are Yolanda Belisario, Fernando Pujol, Noemi Valle, Yang Xiao, and myself, Rene Alfonso. We're going to discuss what the project requirements were, what the current pain points were, and what we did to solve the issues, and that way we can introduce the project. The problem definition. Startup FIU needed assistance in identifying potential entrepreneur participants from a large number of applications to their programs. At the moment, this is a huge pain point as the staff has to manually review each application for the Empower Accelerator program. The product owner's dream was to create an artificial intelligence that could predict how likely a candidate is to become a successful entrepreneur. The current system has some limitations. Startup FIU allows entrepreneurs to create an account and fill out an application. They get some basic questions like name, address, email address, things like that. But there is no automated process or tool to determine if an applicant is a suitable candidate for the program offered by Startup FIU. The requirements that came from the product owner were that we needed a way to verify if a candidate that was applying for the program was a suitable candidate for Startup FIU. So with the product owner, we came up with this idea of creating a questionnaire that the entrepreneur will fill out, and then that questionnaire will be processed in the back end of our system to see if that candidate was a suitable candidate for Startup FIU. The product owner wanted to have a mobile presence in a way that it was extensible, not only so that the user will fill out the questionnaire on the mobile app, but also after they got accepted into the program, they will receive notifications about events that were coming. So for example, the user will receive, oh, okay, we're having a workshop, and then they will get that notification on the mobile app. They will show up to the event, maybe scan a QR code with the app. So not only are we building the foundations for the Startup FIU questionnaire algorithm, we're also building a mobile presence for future users to have more features that the product owner comes up with and make those features accessible to new entrepreneurs or existing entrepreneurs. We also focused on having features for the admin, which are features that the entrepreneur would not participate in, but actually the admin of the system, in this case, it would be Robert Hacker, and he would be able to make modifications to the questions, to the answers of those questions, modify the skills associated with those questions, provide feedback to the entrepreneurs after they have participated in the program. Again, the idea is to make everything so that the product owner can continue adding new features, and later on in other videos we will discuss a wish list so that other students can build on top of this project and continue enriching the product for the product owner. For the backend and the web app, we used MVC, which is Model View Controller. The idea is we wanted to decouple the UI from the logic and the models. So we created a set of models to represent the user, the questionnaire, questions, answers, things like that. And that way you make a change in the model, it doesn't break the UI, it doesn't have to change the UI. The same for the views. If you change the UI, the controllers or the models don't get affected. It's just the way that you display the information. And the controllers, again, is decoupled, so you make a change to the controller. You should not be breaking the models, you should not be breaking the views. It makes it extensible, that way if we need to add new features, especially since we were always in contact with the product owner and we're adding new features for us, we needed a way to modify things without breaking other components. For the mobile app, we used two architectures. We used event-driven and MVC. The same principles for MVC apply for the mobile app, but also event-driven so that one subsystem doesn't have to know about the other subsystems. The idea is that, let's say the questionnaire subsystem sends an event notifying that the questionnaire was submitted successfully, then the notification subsystem can display a notification to the user. That way the notification subsystem doesn't have to be coupled to the questionnaire subsystem. It just receives an event and then it handles that event. We keep everything decoupled. It makes it extensible. It makes it easy to add new features and to continue improving the project, making it better, making a better user experience, because you can turn around, make changes faster. If everything were decoupled, then changes take longer because one change may affect other areas. In here, you make your change in your subsystem, and it doesn't affect the other subsystems because, again, they're decoupled. So let's take a look at some technical information. We use Spring Boot for the backend, native Android for the mobile app. Both sides use Java. We use JUnit for testing, Selenium IDE for testing as well. We use Bootstrap, Android Studio, IntelliJ IDE, and for Scrum we use Jira, and for the repository we use Bitbucket. Let's take a look at the subsystem diagram for the mobile app. We can see different subsystems and how they interact with each other. Mainly they focus on the event bus to keep everything decoupled. That means that one subsystem doesn't know about the other subsystem. That makes it more extensible and we can make changes more easily. This is the class diagram for the backend. We can see the different models that we have. We can see the different controllers, the boundary objects, and part of the logic that makes the algorithm work for the questionnaire. So we use Jira to keep track of the project. As we were working on the sprints, we were using Agile Scrum. So we had different Jiras assigned to us, different epics, and different subtasks associated with certain user stories that were defined by the product owner. In here, in Confluence, we can see a lot of the documentation, some of the videos. We can open up the Jiras, see some information about those particular user stories. That way, future teams that work on these projects, they can use this information to continue working on it. We also have videos per every sprint. We uploaded all the videos to YouTube as a reference. There's a video per user story that can be used for information. These are the separate user story videos for each person in the team. You can see here the hours that we worked on things, the videos that we worked on them. So let's go to Bitbucket and take a look at the repository. For the backend and the web app, we have the StartUPFIU repository. Everything will be merged into master. Right now, everything is in dev. We're adding the finishing touches with the documentation. But in here, you can clone this and you will be able to start working on the project right away. We also have the mobile app, which is another repository, just to keep everything separate so that we don't have this big repository that takes a long time to clone and makes a headache for us in the future. We want to keep everything separate so that it's easy to work on. Again, we have the different branches and you can clone the master branch and start working on it. Ideally, you want to create your own branch and continue working on that. Let's take a look at the mobile app. In here, we're just moving through the features at a faster pace so that we can get an introduction to the mobile app. If we want more in-depth information, we're going to have videos specific to the actor associated with these user stories. This is the same for the backend and the web app as the admin, and then here we can see some of the features really quick. We're just going to move really fast through them so that we get an introduction. Thank you. We hope that this information has been useful. Again, the product owner is Robert Hacker. The professor and mentor is Dr. Masoud Sajjadi. The developers are Yolanda Belisario, Fernando Pujol, Noemi Valle, Yang Xiao, and Rene Alfonso. Thank you, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions